At 88, Max Baer is finally speaking openly about a chapter of his life that has long been misunderstood, his relationship with, and the truth behind the image Hollywood sold. But before the fame, the sitcom legacy, and the silence, Max Baer Jr.'s story begins in a world already charged with pressure. 88 years old, Max Baer Jr., born Maximilian Adalbert Baer Jr. on December 4, 1937, in Oakland, California, he entered life carrying a famous name. His father, Max Baer Sr., was a towering figure in boxing history, the 1934 world heavyweight champion, known for brutal power and unforgettable fights, including his victory over Primo Carnera. That fame brought admiration, but it also brought expectation, scrutiny, and a standard that was impossible to ignore. The elder Baer's strong personality and public presence shaped the household, while Max Jr.'s mother, Mary Ellen Sullivan, provided balance. She emphasized education, discipline, and compassion, grounding the family when the spotlight grew too harsh. Growing up as the son of a sports legend meant Max Jr. lived under constant observation, but he was determined to carve out his own identity. Academically and athletically, he stood out early. He attended Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento, a school known for structure, rigor, and character development. There, Max Jr. proved he was no ordinary student. He earned letters in 4 sports at the same time, a rare achievement that highlighted not just talent, but relentless discipline and drive. One of his most impressive accomplishments came in golf. Max Baer Jr. won the Sacramento Open Junior Golf Tournament twice, showing precision, focus, and competitive instinct. These early victories hinted at a life that would blend athleticism, creativity, and business sense rather than follow one predictable path. After high school, Max continued his education at Santa Clara University, a respected Jesuit institution. He earned a bachelor's degree in business administration, pairing it with a minor in philosophy. That combination mattered. Business sharpened his practical instincts, while philosophy fed his curiosity about human behavior, ethics, and meaning, tools that would later shape his decisions far beyond acting. His first brush with performance came early. In 1949, at just 12 years old, Max made his stage debut in England at the Blackpool Pavilion, appearing in Goldilocks and the Three Bears. That moment gave him a taste of live performance, timing, and audience connection, planting a seed that wouldn't fade. But it wasn't until the 1960s that Max Baer Jr. fully stepped into the entertainment world. He signed with Warner Brothers, one of the most powerful studios of the era, and quickly became a familiar face on television. He appeared in a string of popular shows, including Maverick, 1960, Surfside 6, 1960 to 1961, Cheyenne, 1960 to 1961, Hawaiian Eye, 1960 to 1961, 77 Sunset Strip, 1960 to 1961, Bronco, 1961, Sugarfoot, 1961, Follow the Sun, 1962, and It's a Man's World, 1962. These roles sharpened his craft and immersed him in the high-pressure pace of television's golden era. Max Baer Jr. wasn't just passing through Hollywood. He was learning its rules, its illusions, and its hidden costs. And long before the world associated him with one unforgettable role, he was already building a story far deeper than anyone realized. Despite a strong start in television, Max Baer Jr. became forever etched into American pop culture for one role above all others: Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies. From 1962 to 1971, the CBS hit dominated ratings, and Jethro, the well-meaning but dim-witted cousin of Jed Clampett, became one of the most recognizable characters on television. Baer's performance captured the show's comedic magic and its sharp satire of rural meets urban America. Audiences loved Jethro's confidence, cluelessness, and over-the-top ambition. For nearly a decade, Max Baer Jr. was a household name, but that success came with a cost. The role followed him everywhere, and typecasting quickly became the shadow he couldn't outrun. Even at the height of the Beverly Hillbillies, Max kept working. He appeared in anthology series like Love, American Style, (1969 to 1974), and Vacation Playhouse (1969 to 1974), while also stepping into film. In 1967, he played Sergeant Luther Lisco in the war drama A Time for Killing, showing he could handle serious material. Still, Hollywood saw Jethro first, and often only. Offers became limited, and Max recognized the trap early. Instead of fighting casting rooms, he shifted strategy. He turned toward producing, directing, and screenwriting, where creative control replaced waiting for permission. That pivot paid off. In 1974, Max made his debut as a producer and screenwriter with Macon County Line, a gritty Southern crime drama in which he also starred as Deputy Reed Morgan. The film became a surprise hit, praised for its tension and raw storytelling, instantly establishing Max as a filmmaker with real instincts. He built on that momentum fast. In 1975, he produced, wrote, and directed The Wild McCullochs, playing Culver Robinson in a family drama that proved he could balance emotion, conflict, and character both behind and in front of the camera. Then came Ode to Billy Joe in 1976, adapted from the iconic song. The film became a major box office success, cementing Max's reputation as someone who could turn cultural moments into cinematic wins. His final directorial project, Hometown USA, 1979, marked the end of his primary filmmaking chapter, but not his ambition. Outside entertainment, Max Baer Jr. revealed serious business instincts. He ventured into real estate and the casino industry, developing an ambitious vision to build a full Beverly Hillbillies-inspired empire. Plans reportedly included Jethro's Beverly Hills mansion and themed casinos, blending nostalgia with commercial power. Max has also secured rights to names, likenesses, and intellectual property tied to the show, aiming to transform the beloved sitcom into a multi-dimensional business brand. His personal life has drawn attention too, amplified by fame and family legacy. Though private by nature, some relationships became public. In 1966, during the peak of his Beverly Hillbillies fame, Max married Joanne Kathleen Hill, marking another chapter in a life lived partly in the spotlight, but never fully defined by it. The pressures of fame, non-stop work, and constant travel began to weigh heavily on Max Baer Jr.'s personal life. Like many young couples suddenly thrust into the public eye, he and Joanne Kathleen Hill struggled to balance privacy with celebrity. Long hours on set, time apart, and the strain of expectations slowly took their toll. After 5 years of marriage, the relationship ended in divorce in 1971, a moment that marked a major turning point in Max's life. The split came at the same time he was trying to redefine himself professionally. Being forever linked to Jethro Bodine made reinvention difficult, and emotionally, he was navigating life without the structure marriage once provided. Max never remarried, but over the years, his romantic life continued to draw attention, especially when it intersected with other high-profile figures. One of the most talked-about relationships was with Victoria Principal, the highly successful actress and entrepreneur best known for Dallas. Their relationship sparked intense media interest. Both were famous, both were powerful in their own right, and together they became tabloid fuel. Max was also reportedly linked to fashion model Cherry Rhodes, further cementing his image at the time as a man frequently associated with glamorous, headline-making romances. Decades later, in 2005, one aspect of Max's past resurfaced in a way he never expected. Victoria Principal publicly alleged that she had been assaulted during the period when they were romantically involved. The claim reignited attention on Max long after his television peak and sparked heated media discussion. Max firmly denied the allegation, stating repeatedly that the claim was untrue. No criminal conviction resulted, and Max has consistently rejected any portrayal of himself as having engaged in such behavior. The situation highlighted how personal relationships, especially those lived partially in the spotlight, can take on new meanings years later, depending on memory, interpretation, and perspective. For Max, The controversy stood in sharp contrast to the comedic, light-hearted image he carried for decades as Jethro Bodine. It reinforced his long-standing desire for privacy and helped explain why, in later years, he increasingly stepped away from Hollywood, choosing instead to focus on business ventures, investments, and a quieter life outside the industry. Now, at 88 years old, Max Baer Jr. finds himself in a reflective chapter of life. With age comes distance, and with distance comes honesty. Best known to generations as Jethro, he has spent decades managing the double-edged legacy of a role that brought fame, but also confinement. In his later years, Max has spoken more candidly about one of the most influential and misunderstood figures in his career. Irene Ryan, the woman behind Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. According to Max, Irene was nothing like the sweet elderly character audiences adored. She was sharp, demanding, and tougher than almost anyone I've ever known, he has said. When Max first met her, he was young, inexperienced, and unsure of himself, stepping onto a set filled with seasoned performers who had already survived decades in show business. Irene Ryan was a veteran of vaudeville, radio, and film, hardened by every era Hollywood could throw at her. She carried herself with authority, confidence, and zero patience for nonsense. Max admits that at first she intimidated him deeply. But that intimidation, he would later realize, was also a lesson, one that would shape how he survived Hollywood long after the cameras stopped rolling. "I was young, and she could see right through me," Max Baer Jr. admits now. "She knew when you were acting and when you were faking it." Irene Ryan didn't tolerate shortcuts, excuses, or ego. She demanded precision, preparation, and total respect for the craft. If you were lazy, she knew it instantly. If you were serious, she respected you just as fast. Despite her tough reputation, Baer insists there was a side of Irene Ryan most people never saw. When the cameras stopped rolling, she could be surprisingly warm. She had a dry, wicked sense of humor and loved telling raw, unfiltered stories from her vaudeville days. "Some of those stories would make your hair stand on end," he recalls. Ryan's toughness came from survival. Long before the Beverly Hillbillies made her famous late in life, she had endured failed marriages, financial instability, and years of uncertainty. Success didn't soften her, it sharpened her awareness of how quickly it could vanish. That knowledge shaped everything she did. Baer also addresses long-standing rumors of tension on set. Yes, there were sparks. "Anytime you put strong personalities together, you're going to feel friction," he says. Ryan was fiercely protective of Granny and the show's integrity. She knew Granny wasn't just comic relief, she was the backbone of the Clampett family. Early on, Baer admits he underestimated her instincts. "She was almost always right," he says now. "I just didn't realize it until later." Over time, that intimidation turned into deep respect. Ryan worked until the very end. Even as her health declined, she refused to slow down. She believed audiences deserved your best, no matter how you felt. That discipline left a permanent impression on Baer. Her death in 1971, shortly after the Beverly Hillbillies ended, hit him hard. It didn't just feel like the loss of a co-star, it felt like the end of an era. Looking back now, Baer speaks without bitterness, only clarity. "Irene Ryan helped make me who I am," he says. "She challenged me, scared me, and taught me." He believes history remembers her laughter but often forgets the strength behind it. "She was a survivor," Baer says. "She earned every laugh she ever got." In finally telling that truth, Max Baer Jr. honors a woman whose toughness shaped television history. Beyond Ryan, Baer also maintained a deep, lifelong bond with Buddy Ebsen. Their friendship went far beyond the screen. Ebsen became a mentor, a steady presence, and a trusted guide throughout Baer's life. That bond remained strong until the very end. Shortly before Ebsen passed away, Baer and Donna Douglas visited him in the hospital, offering comfort during his final days. When Buddy Ebsen died on July 6, 2003, it marked the loss of not just a TV legend, but a cherished friend. the passage of time brought more heartbreak. With Donna Douglas's death in 2015, Baer became the last surviving regular cast member of the Beverly Hillbillies. It was an honor, but a bittersweet one. Now, Max Baer Jr. stands as a living bridge to a bygone era of television, one defined by warmth, simplicity, and characters that became part of American culture. Carrying those memories alone, he preserves the laughter, friendships, and legacy that once brought millions together, and still does today.